least in principle. It's just so incredibly unlikely, because to go from disorder to order is a very difficult maneuver. To go from order to disorder, that's very simple. Just drop the glass and it shatters. And so that at least gives us some insight into why there is this direction to time. But if you step back and say, but what about time itself? Like, why is there this thing called time, and why is it different from space? Why can we so freely navigate through space, left and right, backward? It doesn't matter. There's no constraint. Why is there this constraint on time? I can't really give you an answer to that question.
And you can conceive of space, but you can't conceive of time in the same way. It does make me wonder if there is a similar kind of like fine-tuning problem for time. Of course, time ticks differently if you're near a mass of gravity or if you're traveling close to the speed of light. But presumably there's some kind of like ratio by which, as the mass increases of a gravitational object, the time dilation increases.
Yeah, we have a formula for it.
Presumably that is something that you could also like tweak in principle, where as the mass increases, you know, the time ticks proportionally even more slowly than it actually does right now. And so
1 minus 2 GM over C squared R. I mean, that's we actually have a formula
you took
for
the
it.
words out of my mouth. That's right. And so I suppose what I'm just wondering here is, when we talk about this like fine-tuning argument for God's existence, or like multiverse type stuff, is time one of those qualities? Because it seems to me like unnatural to think of it in that way. Because I think of time almost as if almost as the space in which all of that's happening. But is there also this fine-tuning of the way that time works too?
I think that gets closer to a psychological question as opposed to a scientific one, in the sense of the fundamental nature of time. I think we beings have these structures, and these structures in our heads change on certain time scales, and those time scales evolved. And so were the massive Earth very different, or if we were on Miller's planet orbiting Gargantua in a black, would it be perhaps that we would evolve differently and our sense of time would be different? Sure.
Well, I mean to say that like the fact that if I say I like
no, hang on, because if we have time, and that time that equals, because we, right, plus evolution, or because we plus evolution equals time.